Okay, let's talk about the premise, because I think where a lot of issues stem. I can't believe the audacity that he makes a bet to ask a girl out to Cuba. Like, who is this guy?
I like the assumption as well when Nathan says basically like, hey, well, you say that you're like, this great guy, but like, what guy goes to Havana without a girl? And it's like, normal people.
and that's the thing that like causes him to make the bet. It's like, how confident is he that this shit works? Like, even if I was Marlon Brando, and he's a confident, good-looking bloke, but even if I was him, I'd be like, really, Havana? Why not at least like the same nation? Go say like Florida or something. like does she have a passport ready to go? Like, and that's the thing, it works.
Yeah, it does work.
But here's the thing, like, can we talk about the logistics of this? Because like, okay, so he grabs her at noon, right? They do the whole date in Cuba, which we'll get into, but then they do it. They get in the last plane, in the biggest air quotes, out of Cuba, and they're still back on the same night.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing where Nathan's gonna do some research. I'm gonna look up the fucking flight times right now from like bloody New York to Cuba.
Actually,
no, you can't, because the flights are banned. Remember, America doesn't like you flying direct to Cuba? This would have been like pre-missile crisis, so like...
Sure, but like we don't have to look up the exact flights, but let's just look at the time.
Yeah.
New York to Cuba, how long? This is the part of the show where Brenton Googles shit.
Because sure, let's say he grabs her at noon. It's probably an hour to get to the airport.
Whoa, Nathan, it's got you.
How long's the flight?
It's 3 hours.
Okay, 3. So it's like an Australia-New Zealand flight. All right.
So he says he picks her up at noon.
So let's say hour to the airport. Let's say they got a private jet or something. So maybe hour and a half to get in the plane, right? It's 1:30. They fly. 4:30 they land in Cuba. Great. They go out, get some dins, get in a little fight, sing about some love, and then actually maybe this could work. Because say the last flight's maybe at 10 p.m. It could line up.
Yeah, maybe, but like I don't buy that that's the flight they catch. They look like they're a lot later than like 10 p.m. That's where it gets tricky. And by the time they're back in New York, like a plane that leaves at 10 p.m. lands at around like just after
getting back into the city, into Manhattan, would probably be 2 a.m. by that point.
Yeah. And by that point, they're like, it's dawn. So like, what flight did they catch? Because I think it's trying to make it... I don't know what the flights were like back then.
This is also using like 2020 like times of like getting through a plane. Like, back then they didn't have airport security. It was like pre-9/11. But like still, it wouldn't have been...
And also like different, like better technology, better planes, faster planes as well. Like who knows?
So yeah, who knows?
So maybe it does add up then, because even if they got there at 5 p.m., maybe they spent like 4 hours there, they got back on a plane, let's say at 10 p.m., like you said, and then that's like 5-hour flight, let's say. And then they arrive at 3 a.m. and they walk the streets for 2 hours and then it's dawn. Maybe. Maybe logistically it could make sense.
Here's the thing, like it's that same thing where I'm like, if I was taken on a date to Cuba, right? It'd be a little bit different from Australia. But let's say the equivalent, okay, for us in Australia, it's like New Zealand, because that's 3 hours away. So say I met a girl, Brenton, we love at first sight, and she was like, let's have dinner in like Wellington. And I'm like, I beg your pardon. And she's like, here's the tickets, grab your passport, I'll see you at noon. I'm like, great. If I was to go to Wellington for dinner, I wouldn't just want to go back the same night, right? Like, you want to stay there a little bit longer if you've made the effort.
That's right, yeah. But my understanding, because they do discuss that, she's like, well, let's just stay the night.
Yeah.
Like,
she's like, we're in Cuba. Like, may as well enjoy it.
Like, let's just stay the night. And he's like, no, I've taken advantage of you. I'm taking you back. You've got, the Salvation Army's important to you. Like, you'll regret it. I'll take you back. Like, that's the discussion that's had. So it does make sense logistically, but I get your point that like, man, it just must be though, because like we're not experienced high rollers as well. Like
we're not used to flexing our
flexing our fucking cash. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
holy
like, well
shit.
done.
But also like, here's a logistic thing. We're so stuck on this Cuba Havana thing, which is hilarious.
It's a big point
I love
in the
that we're talking about this, because why is he going to Havana for one night? Is it literally just to have dinner at his favorite restaurant?
Probably. Well, that's the bet he makes.
I'm flying out to Havana. And then was he actually going to come back to New York, or where was he going? Because I think he's from Las Vegas. Yeah. Right? Like that's his pad.
I honestly don't know, Brenton.